Have you ever wondered why some people can instantly earn your trust while others make you feel uneasy, even without saying a word? Trust is invisible, yet it shapes every decision, every relationship, and every sense of safety we carry. It can take years to build and seconds to destroy. Understanding the psychology of trust is like holding a map to the human heart and mind, a compass that guides you through the unseen territory of motives, fears, and hidden expectations. This is not just about theory. This is about how your brain, your emotions, and your experiences work together to decide who you let into your world and who you keep at arm's length. Trust begins before words. Long before we consciously decide whether someone is safe, our nervous system is scanning for subtle cues. A micro-expression, a tone of voice, a flicker of the eyes, all of it tells a story. Neuroscience shows that the brain's amygdala, which processes threat, and the prefrontal cortex, which weighs risk, fire simultaneously when you meet someone new. In milliseconds, you're running calculations. Is this person aligned with me? Are they likely to harm or help me? This ancient mechanism evolved to keep us alive. Yet in modern life, it determines who you hire, who you confide in, and even who you love. But trust is not just a reflex. It's also a story you tell yourself. From childhood, your earliest caregivers teach you whether the world is safe or unpredictable. Psychologists call this attachment. If your needs were met with consistency, you tend to believe people will show up for you. If they were met with chaos or neglect, you may struggle to believe promises or find yourself testing others again and again. This isn't weakness, it's an adaptation. Your nervous system is trying to protect you from disappointment. Recognizing this pattern in yourself is the first step toward changing it. At its core, trust is built on two pillars: competence and integrity. Competence answers the question, can you do what you say you'll do? Integrity answers the question, will you do it even when it costs you something? Without competence, promises feel empty. Without integrity, even skillful people feel dangerous. When both are present, your mind relaxes. You don't have to monitor, second-guess, or brace for betrayal. Think of the people in your life you trust the most. They probably score high on both pillars, even if you've never articulated it that way. There's also a third, often overlooked pillar: benevolence. This is the felt sense that someone has your best interests at heart. They might be competent and honest, but still indifferent to your well-being. In that case, you sense a transactional energy, and true trust never takes root. Benevolence is communicated in small, consistent acts, remembering your concerns, offering help without strings attached, showing up when it's inconvenient. When competence, integrity, and benevolence align, trust becomes not just an expectation but a lived experience. Yet trust is fragile because our brains are wired for negativity bias. We remember betrayals more vividly than loyalty. One broken promise can outweigh 10 kept ones. This bias kept our ancestors alive, but in modern relationships, it can create cycles of suspicion and withdrawal. To counteract this, you must consciously update your mental trust ledger. Notice not only when someone fails you, but also when they come through. Train your mind to weigh patterns, not isolated incidents. Social psychologists have found that trust operates on a sliding scale rather than a binary. You don't simply trust or distrust someone. You extend different levels of trust depending on context. You might trust a coworker to deliver a report, but not to keep a personal secret. You might trust a friend with your emotions, but not with your finances. Understanding these gradients helps you set realistic boundaries instead of expecting all-or-nothing loyalty. The paradox of trust is that it requires vulnerability. You cannot verify trust without risking something: your time, your secrets, your reputation, your heart. This risk activates the same fear circuits as physical danger, which is why betrayal can feel like an actual wound. But vulnerability is also what deepens connection. When you take a chance on someone and they honor it, your bond strengthens. Each kept promise rewires your brain, telling you it's safe to lean in. Over time, this creates a positive feedback loop. Trust leads to openness, which leads to more trust. Consider how this plays out in leadership. A manager who hoards information breeds suspicion, but one who shares context openly signals respect. Employees reciprocate with loyalty and discretionary effort. In families, parents who admit mistakes model accountability, teaching children that trust is not about perfection but about repair. In friendships, showing up consistently, even for small things, builds a reservoir of goodwill that carries you through inevitable conflicts. Modern society complicates trust because so many interactions are mediated by screens. Online, you can curate an image, hide flaws, or fabricate credentials. Our ancient trust detectors, body language, tone, microexpressions, are muted. As a result, we rely more heavily on reputations, reviews, and social proof. This is why influencers and brands fight so hard for authenticity. Once their trust capital is depleted, it's almost impossible to recover. Yet despite all these complexities, humans are wired to seek connection. We want to trust. We are drawn to signals of reliability like warmth, congruence between words and actions, and shared values. Even small rituals, greetings, eye contact, timely responses, become microdeposits in the emotional bank account of trust. Over time, these deposits compound into a sense of safety and mutual respect that feels almost invisible but is profoundly powerful. When you understand the psychology of trust, you start to see it everywhere, in politics, marketing, dating, and even in your relationship with yourself. Self-trust, perhaps the most fundamental form, grows when your actions align with your values. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you signal to your own mind, I am someone I can rely on. This creates internal stability, which in turn makes you more discerning and generous in extending trust to others. If self-trust is the foundation, repairing it is the construction project of your life. Many people betray themselves daily through broken commitments, skipped goals, ignored boundaries, silenced truths. Over time, this erodes not only confidence, but also the ability to trust others. Your mind thinks, if I can't even rely on myself, how can I rely on anyone else? Rebuilding starts with micro-promises. Do one small thing you said you'd do, then another. Each follow-through plants a seed of credibility in your own psyche. That credibility becomes the lens through which you evaluate everyone else. Trust also has a collective dimension. Communities, companies, and even nations thrive or collapse based on shared trust. Economists call this social capital, the invisible glue of cooperation. In high-trust societies, people obey rules even when no one is watching. Transactions are faster, relationships smoother, and innovation more daring. In low-trust societies, everything slows down under the weight of suspicion, bureaucracy, and enforcement. You can see this dynamic in microcosm at work or in friendships. The more you must double-check, monitor, or protect yourself, the less energy remains for creativity or intimacy. This is why betrayal cuts so deep. It's not just about one act. It's about the shattering of an invisible infrastructure you relied on. Psychologists liken it to a trust injury, which requires a healing process much like a physical wound. The first stage is shock. Your nervous system's alarm bells ring. Then comes grief, anger, bargaining. Finally, if both parties are willing, there's a repair. Repair doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means rebuilding with transparency, accountability, and consistent action over time. Without these elements, forgiveness remains intellectual, but trust never fully returns. Interestingly, trust can also be manipulated. Con artists and abusers exploit the same psychological cues that normally signal safety, mirroring your body language, feigning vulnerability, showering you with attention. This is called grooming. Knowing this doesn't mean you must become cynical. It means you must combine an open heart with a discerning eye. Trust but verify. Ask yourself, do their actions align with their words over time? Do they respect your boundaries? Are they transparent when the stakes are high? Healthy skepticism is not paranoia, it's wisdom. Another overlooked dimension is cultural. What reads as trustworthy in one culture may signal deceit in another. Direct eye contact is valued in some countries, seen as aggressive in others. Modesty may be read as humility in one context, incompetence in another. When you interact across cultures, widen your lens. Look for patterns rather than single cues. Build bridges with curiosity instead of quick judgments. Then there's the question of digital trust. Algorithms decide what you see, who you meet, and which voices get amplified. Data breaches, fake reviews, and deep fakes erode confidence in systems we once took for granted. Developing digital literacy is part of modern trust psychology, learning to cross-check sources, question motives, and protect your privacy. Ironically, as technology advances, we crave authentic human signals more than ever. So how can you actively cultivate trust in your life? Start by embodying the qualities you seek. Show competence by following through. Show integrity by aligning words and actions, even when inconvenient. Show benevolence by considering the impact of your choices on others. Communicate transparently, especially when things go wrong. Admit mistakes promptly and outline your plan to fix them. These behaviors not only build your reputation, but also model what healthy trust looks like. People mirror what they experience. Next, set clear boundaries. Many think boundaries destroy trust. The opposite is true. Boundaries define the space in which trust can grow without resentment. When people know your limits, they feel safer, not stifled. You can give a full yes because you're not saying yes out of obligation or fear. This clarity makes your commitments meaningful and your relationships more resilient. Also, practice what psychologists call trust calibration. Instead of giving full trust immediately or withholding it entirely, extend it gradually and observe. Start with small disclosures or tasks. If the person handles them well, increase your level of openness. If they don't, adjust accordingly. This approach protects you while giving others a fair chance to earn deeper trust. Self-awareness is your strongest tool. Notice your own triggers. Do you overtrust because you fear conflict? Do you undertrust because of old wounds? Journaling, therapy, or mindful reflection can reveal these patterns. Once you see them, you can choose rather than react. Trust then becomes an intentional act, not an unconscious reflex. Ultimately, the psychology of trust is about connection, not control. You cannot eliminate all risk from human relationships, but you can learn to navigate that risk with intelligence, courage, and compassion. When you approach trust as a living process rather than a fixed trait, you open the door to deeper, richer bonds. You stop seeing betrayal as proof that all people are dangerous and start seeing it as a signal to refine your discernment. Imagine a world where you trust wisely, where your yes means yes and your no means no, where your boundaries are clear but your heart remains open. Such a life feels lighter, freer. Energy once spent on suspicion can be redirected to growth, creativity, and joy. This is not naive, it's empowered. And remember, trust is contagious. When you embody trustworthiness, you permit others to do the same. Your relationships become laboratories for healing, not battlegrounds for power. Over time, this ripples outward. Families, teams, communities become safer spaces. The invisible network of trust grows stronger because of the choices you make today. As you reflect on your own life, where do you place your trust? In whom? In what? And just as importantly, how do you cultivate it within yourself? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if this exploration of the psychology of trust has sparked new thoughts or challenged old patterns, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for deeper insights into the hidden forces shaping our inner and outer worlds.